This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is me, Jonathan Alexander, and I'm here to host our show, Life, Laughter, Happiness. Today, we have my co-host, Barbara, here. Are you there, Barbara?
Yes. Hi, I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Now, the name what we're talking about tonight is Love and Dating Between Men and Women. Okay?
Okay.
And now, I think that it's kind of, interesting that we do this because I wanted to kind of go over some things like about how is when you talk to a man, do you find like they just takes a little while to understand some things?
Well, I think that the problem is, yes, okay, first of all, sometimes yes. The problem is sometimes is a man is thinking about so much about what he wants, how he wants you to be, how his life looks to him. And so if you don't fit into that perfectly, there could be problems. And I've noticed this with somebody I've dated before, like they want you. It's called control, basically. So there's a lot of men out there that try to control. Yes, and that just doesn't work for so many people, especially me. It doesn't. So you say, so you see this in men trying to control women?
I think that there's a lot of men trying to control women. I think what they do is once they find out that you really, really want something, they can use it to their advantage. Sort of like, and I try my hardest to be the best person that I can be. I think everybody to a certain extent falls short. I have flaws just like everybody else, but I think that you can kind of, and you can, I think it's natural desire to want someone to like what you like and to be interested in the same things that you are. Do you feel like that happens a lot in your relationships, or does that make sense?
Yes, but, we really have to, as people, just focus on being ourselves, because if we're not ourselves the first few dates, they're thinking they're getting somebody maybe different. And just so try to be yourself as much as possible so you can weed out. Don't go out with that person anymore. If you see, oh, my goodness, they don't like anything I like, they're controlling, they didn't let me order. Hey, I personally like it when I'm at a restaurant and the man orders for me. I like it. But then I've found so many women get offended by that because they think I could have ordered my own dinner. I like the chivalry. I like it when they open the car door. My dad did that, so I'm used to it. I grew up with that. And when I expect that from a man, they've gotten offended. Like, well, why are you just sitting there? I was waiting for you to come around and open my door. Now, that can be a big problem. So if that's important to you, and say you're on a dating site, you need to write these little things down that you like. because there must be these search engines and these words in chivalry, for instance, that you can plug into these dating sites. Everybody's doing that these days. And write down exactly, be precise, because that's going to attract the ones that do that. Because if there's somebody out there who says, I don't want to do that, then can you live without it or can you not? You have to decide before you go even on the first date. So
I wanted to let you know, my boss is calling in, and I was going to put her on. Is that okay with you?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Let me go here. Hey, Wendy, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know, so I was just sitting there listening.
Hi,
How do
what's
you
your name?
like the show so far?
Very good.
Do you what's your opinion on loving and dating? Do you like it when men open the door for you?
It depends. I do. I don't mind when they act like a lady, but so many people, I live in LA, so that's not really possible. You'd be shocked if somebody actually, even in LA, everybody's for themselves. There's no chivalry out here. I don't think.
It's hard to find.
Really?
But Johnnie, you didn't even introduce her. Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm sorry. Okay, this is Wendy. This is my boss. I work for her for Employee Awareness Association, and what we do is we do lunch and learns. And basically,
hi,
kind of
Wendy.
explain to her what a lunch and
Hi,
learn is,
Barbara.
Wendy.
Oh, I live in LA area too. I didn't know you did the lunch and learns out here.
We do them everywhere. We do them in Australia. We do them in Canada, and we do them all over the U.S. on different topics.
Oh, cool. Well,
Yeah.
Johnnie told
We're
me a
in
little
LA.
bit about it, but tell us, all the listeners, about what Lunch and Learn is.
Well, it's basically an educational seminar. So it's networking for the presenter and networking for the company. And so what you do is, they host a lunch and learn, and a presenter comes and speaks for 20 to 25 minutes on the topic of your choice. And we have to have a presenter in your particular location. And then there's a free meal or refreshments provided for everyone that attends. And it's a lot of fun, and it's educational. That's what we do.
Wow. So because Johnnie told me, so he books these things, and then it's a good income. And also in the meantime, while you're doing this job, you're networking, which is very
well. We're
needed
helping
for
a
our
lot of
show.
people. We're helping a lot of people to educate employees, and to educate. Of course, they're people to educate people on different topics. We started our company when my father passed away from stage 4 cancer, and so what happened was he was dying, and he said, "Look, you have to take care of your mother." And I said, "How am I supposed to do that, Dad? I work for other people. I can't make enough, especially in LA." And he said, "Look, I'm going to loan you money and open up your own company," and that's what we did. And I learned a lot of things about health. Yeah.
The Lunch and Learn. Wow.
Yes,
Well,
she
just
is the president.
corporation.
Oh, great. Wow. Okay. Yes. Well, Johnnie was
Barbara,
asking me if I wanted to do Lunch and Learn, but I don't like making phone calls, so it probably wouldn't
Well,
be
what I
good
was
for
going
me.
to suggest is Barbara, don't you know a lot of financial experts and doctors maybe?
Yes.
Well, we're working
Professional.
on that, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Professional.
usually we only use a certain type of doctors, holistic doctors, and the areas are
I'm sorry.
the areas. That's okay. The areas are proprietary. So if someone books an area, we don't want another person in the same area. So you can't just do what you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
sorry.
really
I was
interesting.
just
So
wanting
how
to
can we
help out.
find you? While we have you on here, should people just go to your website? Is it lunchandlearn.com?
That's what they can do, but yeah, it's employee-aware.com, and they can book an event there. And if we have, the reason we don't usually advertise like that, and I told Jonathan that also, is because what if we don't have a presenter in a particular area and somebody wants an event, you know? That's why we don't.
I'm sorry if I kind of put you on the spot there. I'm sorry about all that.
That's all right. But yeah, if somebody's interested, they can, shoot me an email off the website and we can respond.
All right.
Well,
really
thanks for coming on.
Sure. We help a lot of people to learn things and to, relieve stress as much as possible.
That's great. And it's perfect to have you call in about this subject, because with all of your working with so many different people and tons of them, you meet all types. And you're telling us that it's hard to find chivalry in LA, and I do agree.
Right.
But I'm not saying that I have to have a person open my door when we're just out doing errands and we're a couple and all that. I mean, my dad still would do that. He always has. And he helps me with my coat getting on and off and my sweater, and anything that I'm struggling with, he'll come right over and help me with it. Even if I'm not struggling, he'll help me with my coat. That's just him. But a daughter, if they love their dad so much, they would love to have a man that does the same kinds of things that they loved growing up. And that's one of my things. But when you're all dressed up and you're going to an event, now that's a different story. I would really then expect my door to be open for me. Do you, Wendy?
Well, I haven't gone out in so long. I don't even know.
You can remember going to like an event.
I'm not an expert on this topic. And, that's kind of private for me. I don't know. I'm just not really equipped to talk about that on the air.
Okay.
Here I am turning bright red over here.
Thank you for calling in. Thank you for calling in, Jonathan. Really nice.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
And God bless you all, and have a wonderful evening.
Okay, thank you so much. It was great to meet you.
You're welcome.
I love hearing from like high profile like women who are career oriented like that. But it's sad, and that's why we are talking about it right now, Johnnie, is because there's women like that are very valuable people that are not getting the dates, and they should be. So, okay, we need to discuss, like, I know that men are so afraid to approach women to go out with them. So let me tell you a little story about what happened to my aunt. She was alone for 12 years after her husband died, and she's beautiful in her 70s. And you would think, well, gosh, I guess I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. But she didn't. She never had that thought. I mean, she was getting very lonely. Well, this man in church, he took one look at her, and he just said, that is exactly what I'm looking for. And he wrote her a little note. So I'm thinking, if you're too shy to go up to a woman, why don't you write her a little note? Would you like to have lunch sometime? And just pass it down or just hand it to her, because that totally breaks the ice right there. And it worked. And now they're married.
Wow.
Yeah, they got married after 8 months.
Do you think that it was, what's the most romantic thing a man's ever done for you?
Oh, romantic. I would say when I was proposed to by Lorenzo, he took me up in a helicopter. He was not flying it, although he can fly them and does fly them for a living now, but he had a helicopter pick us up and fly through Malibu, over Malibu, and land on this very, very big hill, and then walked me up under this huge, beautiful tree, huge. It was gorgeous, and it was sunset, and I knew what he was about to do. I mean, of course, and he proposed to me under that tree. Now, that was pretty special. So, I mean, that's the first thing that popped into my mind. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And then you got your diamond ring, and then the whole way back, you're like, oh, I mean, it was just really, that was a special a special one. That I like it when men plan out things because it makes a woman feel very special, very valued, and cared about, that they would go to that length to plan something out like that. You know what I've done for somebody? That reminds me, now that we're talking about something in the air. Okay, I had a boyfriend, and for Valentine's Day, and that's coming up, so this is a good time to have this show. Okay, there is something called, I think it's called the Mile High Club, which is funny. In Van Nuys, there's the airport out there, and California. You can rent an airplane that just has a bed in the back, and it's closed off so the pilot can't see you, and you take your lover up there, they take off. It's a small little plane, and it probably was designed for probably 6 to 8 people, and they changed the whole back into a bed, and they put out rose petals, and they have a bottle of champagne for you, and you go up there for like an hour or so. He was so surprised. He thought that was the coolest thing that anybody's ever done for him, and I surprised him with that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
When did this happen?
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
This was about 15 years ago, so I don't know if they still are doing it, but it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. Mm-hmm.
Well,
and another boyfriend of mine, they took me to 2 places in one weekend, for my second date. They had a jet, and they took me to Las Vegas first, and then we ended in Palm Springs. So that was like a 2-city weekend, and that was like special too. That impressed me big time. Okay, not everybody has money to, have a jet. But
right.
The thing that I did for my boyfriend, I didn't have a lot of money back then. I was very young, and it wasn't that expensive, really. And it was a great gift. And that Mile High Club, 1 hour up in the air, that was amazing. So there are things. Just go search it up, like interesting things to do on a date. Like, I bet there's so much to do that you never really thought of. And do something special for your loved one, because I've remembered those things all these years, and I'm trying to think of other things. I remember one time I got this huge box of chocolates, and I was like only 19, and I was at my uncle's church. He was the pastor, and this guy gave me the biggest box of chocolates. I mean, we were all laughing. It took us months to eat. The whole family was eating these chocolates in this heart-shaped box. It was huge. And so that was cool. I always remembered that. You don't really remember a small box of chocolate that much, but that big one, that was cool.
Do you feel that when was the last time you were in love?
Let's see. That would be 10 months ago. That lasted a few months. During the time I was moving here, you remember.
Yes.
What about you, Johnny?
Oh, boy. That was about 10 years ago. I was in love for about 10 years. I mean, she meant a lot to me, but it was a growing experience. I mean, it was just one of those things. I mean, it's I think that it actually inspired me to make this podcast. You know,
Oh, wow.
it was well, you know, after I got out of the relationship, I realized that, you know, I needed this podcast to kind of cheer me up. So.
Oh, yeah, and it did.
It did. So I started
really
up again. But I think
what kind of blocks are you getting with, like, dating? Because I know I've watched you. I'm not going to say anything to embarrass you, but, I mean, you don't seem to have any qualms about having a long-distance relationship because you're pursuing that, and I wouldn't like that because I want to have the person right in front of me. I want to be able to touch them and look at them and see them.
Okay, I guess that it's hard because, you know, it's sort of like, let's talk about the person that you were dating 10 months ago. If they lived in, you know, if you were really, really close to them, see, I don't know where I'm going to be in a few years. See,
okay, so that would be okay.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I'm going to be.
Would move.
Right, I really don't know where I'm going to be. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be in Florida forever. I actually would be okay with California. I'd be okay with Nevada. I'd be okay with Nebraska. You know, I mean, ideally, that's why. You know, it's like, you know, I know it may shock some people, but, you know, but like when I was in Los Angeles, you know, that last time, I really loved it. There was a kind of I was expecting everybody in LA to be rude. And, you know,
really?
And then I, in fact, got the opposite. I mean,
yeah.
It was.
They're happy because it's sunny. I think sunny states are really happy people.
I mean, people in LA listening don't take that the wrong way, but you know, but then again, I'll tell you something else. Another city that I've always had a negative image of, and that's New York. Okay, every time that there's a movie portrayed where it's set in New York, it's portrayed as the city where nothing gets done and the people are rude.
Well, because they're moving so fast, they don't have time for slow people. They don't like it, and so they're moving. I think that it's better for.
It's like I saw. It's actually kind of funny because one time I was talking with my ex-girlfriend one time, and I said there are movies that have kind of ruined the city, you know, and I told her that the Out-of-Towners pretty much ruins New York. You know, it just makes New York look like a real nightmare. And then she started laughing, and she goes, "Yes, and Deliverance ruined Georgia." Ruins Atlanta.
She's funny.
I mean,
That's
it's
funny.
like, I mean, I guess, yeah. We got our banjos, you know.
Well, okay, so you just answered it. So you're open to moving. So that's okay. So if you got involved and it went somewhere, you're willing to move where they are. Okay, so that's fine. So that's good. But some people go on for years like that. I don't know how they do that. And you really don't. You can't get super close that way, I don't think.
Right.
Did you know I have a girlfriend that did that? She dated on the phone for 3 months, and she just wanted to get married. And so the minute she met him in person, she didn't really give it much more time, and she just got married. I said, "Why did you do that?" She goes, "I just wanted a wedding."
And how?
So watch out, guys. No, that lasted for only a few years, and they're still friends. But I mean, there's a lot of women out there that's probably why men are gun shy too, because women, a lot of them, they just want that fancy wedding. That's a dream since they were a little girl, and they're not thinking about the actual relationship. So they're being aware of that, and they're very careful. The women wonder why men don't want to commit. Well, that's part of it. They probably have gotten burned by women. So you just got to be yourself. You got to go into it with the right intentions. That's what it's all about. And I'm hoping that I will find the right person for me. But that's another thing. Are we supposed to be looking? Are we supposed to go out of our way to really try to search? Or if it's meant to be, does it just happen for us? I've heard that it's supposed to show up.
Is because what's so funny is I've been told for years, well, we're just supposed to show up. It'll happen when you lose your bet. But see, here's the problem. Socially, men are expected to make the first move. Women aren't. So it seems like it would be more like, they're not trying to be sexist, but, you know, it's sort of, we're assumed to make the first move, you know. So you tell us not to look, but then you expect the man to make the first move. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That doesn't make much sense.
Yeah. So you have to be proactive. If you want something, you have to take certain steps. You can't just not be looking around or getting yourself out there, making yourself available, asking friends, telling them, hey, do you have any nice people that you think that I would like? You know, you've got to get out there and be proactive, I think. Not that you're searching and spending hours on the dating site looking through people, but don't you think you should put yourself out there a little bit to find your true love?
You do. I mean, the idea that it's going to be it's just going to appear, that seems to be kind of strange. You know?
Yeah. You know what? I was walking through the grocery store aisle today with Priscilla, and we see all of the Valentine's chocolates are up and everything, and flowers already up there. And I thought, wonder if I'm going to have a Valentine this year. Probably not. I mean, it's rare when I even do have one. I shouldn't even say probably not. And she goes, well, I've never had one ever. And she's only 12, but you know, you always hope to have a Valentine's date on Valentine's night. It's kind of sad if you don't. I know a lot of girls, if they don't, they just go out together and they don't just stay home and get depressed, but they actually just go out.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Wouldn't that be funny if I went out on Valentine's Day with one of my girlfriends or a group of girls, and then one of them finds some guy they really like that day? That would be cool.
Yeah. I mean, what did you do last Valentine's Day?
Well, I actually, I was with somebody last Valentine's Day. I was. Okay. We're not going to say who. Yeah. And I don't even remember. Fine. Isn't that great how they didn't even make it that special? I don't even remember. But then again, I guess I didn't make it special for them either. We probably weren't getting along at that time. I do remember when I was married, I would get so frustrated. I won't. Okay, I won't. And another note, I remember when I was married, I was very frustrated that this person would always forget to make reservations. I mean, Valentine's Day, guys, please make the reservations because it's one of the busiest nights out there to get a table, okay? And we never even got one. Oh, my gosh. I wasn't very happy. And we were living in Las Vegas, so we were, at a bar somewhere, eating bar food, because everything was booked. Everything was booked solid. That didn't make me feel very special, that he didn't even make reservations.
Not very
And
organized.
women, they really do like to get flowers, too. They love it.
Why is that?
It makes them feel, like, valued. It makes them feel adored and cared about. It makes them feel special. And every time they see those flowers for a week in their house, they'll think, oh, they're so sweet and thoughtful. Wow. It's a big deal. It really works. It's a very, very big deal, Johnny.
Okay, I'll remember that.
And you can mail. You don't have to do, like, flower delivery, like, where they come to your door. You can buy roses that come in a box. And they're long stem roses. And then they have the little water things on the bottom to keep them fresh. And they come in a box. They can be in the mail. You just need to be watching for your mail and not let them sit at the mail post office too long. I've gotten those a few times. And then you just take them out and put them in your own vase. Those are really nice. I would suggest that. Johnny, let's talk about some problems with dating that maybe we can shed some light on between the two of us. What is the biggest wall that you come up against with this subject?
With women, I think the biggest wall I come up to it is being too intimidating, being a little too scary for them. Because I don't.
You are scary for them?
Well, I miss social cues.
Oh, no, you don't. You do not. No, I don't think that about you at all. I think you're a great listener. I think that hey, sometimes when you're on the show, people don't realize that you are screening calls when we have callers, and you come back, you hadn't heard what we had been talking about previously, so that might be misconstrued, but just you as my friend, and we talk every day on the phone, you get everything. There's not anything that you don't get, and you get everything, and you're very sharp, highly intelligent, and I want to put that in your mind right now because that will give you confidence to know. I've been around the block. I have dated a lot. I've been through a marriage. I've been through a couple of engagements. I would know. I've been around a lot of men, all types of men. You are great. You don't miss cues. You're great, okay? You ask around, what would your friend like? What do you think a woman would like? You ask questions. You listen, and you do. So, no, you don't miss them. I thought that you were going to say that you were too shy to ask somebody out or something like that. That's what I thought you were going to ask about. Are you shy sometimes to ask people on a date? Okay, say you did get a date. What would you do? What would you do? Would you take them somewhere? What would you do on a date, the first date?
I would like to go go out to a restaurant. I don't know if I like the idea of a movie because the movie is sort of implies that you're not going to talk.
That's what I always thought. I'm like, how are you going to get to know somebody if you're going to a movie?
Yeah, that's true.
Right? They pick you up and you go to a movie, you sit there, you're not even talking to each other, I remember I went to a movie once and I really liked somebody and I wondered why I had to sit there for 2 hours and they didn't even try to hold my hand.
Yeah, I know.
And I just thought, why am I even here? I thought you liked me. You can't even hold my hand or you can't even put your arm around me. Isn't that when you're supposed to do it? Aren't you supposed to kind of advance a little bit? Movies together are supposed to be romantic. And they just sat there. I even put my hand near their hand. I put it on my leg. It was available right there. And they never held it. And I felt very awkward that whole time.
What's the best, the most romantic movie you went to see with a guy?
Probably Sleepless in Seattle. That's right up there. I always remember that because I'm from Seattle. Everybody loved that movie.
Why is Sleepless
Well, it was
in Seattle?
right when, okay, because it was right when the internet and people were emailing and that sound, "You've got mail," that really was just in the beginning of that. And it was interesting, that part of it right there. And just that they found love.
Are you talking about the movie You've Got Mail, or are you talking about Sleepless in Seattle?
No, Sleepless in Seattle, but she was always going to her computer, and she was so excited to see if she had mail from him. And I hardly even remember really what it was totally about. What?
Well, see, Sleepless in Seattle had Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, but You've Got Mail also had Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. So are you sure you're not confusing? Well, no, I'm just saying that they're two different movies. They're two different movies.
No, I like Sleepless in Seattle.
Okay.
What about you? Can you think of a romantic movie?
I think Life is Beautiful is romantic.
I don't know if I saw that.
I mean, I'll tell you what it's about if you really want to know. Okay, here's what happens. This and being a mom, you can really appreciate this. Okay, there is this guy who's played by Roberto Benigni. Okay, in this movie he's huge, and it's like around Nazi wartime. Okay, and he falls in love with this lady who isn't Jewish. Okay, and it's right around the time that the Nazis are about ready to take over. Well, what happens is that he gets put on a truck, for I think he and his son gets put on a truck to go to a Nazi concentration camp. Okay, and the mom demands to be put on the truck with them, to go with them. Yeah. Well, when they're in the Nazi concentration camp, the boy is what he does to save his son is he convinces them that they're not in a Nazi concentration camp, that they're playing a game to get a tank. And so what happens is he literally just tells them to hide, and so the guards don't get him and everything, and then he and the whole point is that he really wanted to protect his son. He wanted to protect his son from getting hurt by the guards. So he does manage to do this. He himself dies. But,
oh my gosh, you don't ruin it for everybody.
I'm sorry. Well, I didn't know
don't
you were
mention the title. Oh, well, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Don't say the title again of the movie.
Okay.
Because I can't even remember it anyway. So, okay. Okay, so, but, I mean, okay, if somebody is losing their life for you, wow. Now that would be the ultimate sacrifice for love.
Yes,
but then you're not together, but you will be in heaven. So, wow. But that's pretty deep. That's a deep movie. You know what? I wouldn't like it if I felt like I had to hold back my tears in a movie because it was like my first or second or third date. I don't want to see something where I'm going to have to cry.
I'm going to give you one special fact about the movie, and then I won't mention the movie anymore. Roberta Benigni, when the movie came out, there was one special person who loved the movie so much that he requested a screening of it, and it became his favorite film.
Okay, well, maybe that's a good thing to tell people to go see.
No.
I
want you to guess who that person was that requested the screening. He liked it so much that he requested a screening.
And he's a director or a producer?
No, more famous than that.
Actor?
More famous than that.
A president?
More famous than that.
Oh, wow. What could be more famous than that? Royalty?
The Pope.
Oh, really? Wow.
Pope John Paul
That's cool.
requested
a
meeting with Roberta Benigni, and they watched it together, and it was.
Oh, that's cool.
He just thought it was. I mean, to have an audience with the Pope. Wow. That's.
Wow.
I mean, if you're a Catholic, that's like a big deal.
That it was a big deal. Wow. Well, okay. I wanted to talk about some of the things that you shouldn't do on a date. And you tell me why you think that. You tell me why you think that wouldn't be a good idea. My dad always said, do not talk about your exes on a date.
That's true. Yeah, I think that's.
Why
eventually,
do you think? Make things feel awkward, right? You don't want awkward.
Well, I think it implies that you're not really moving on. You're not really looking for a relationship. It might imply that you're just using this date to get your mind off of this other person.
Right, and it also implies that you've been scorned and you're just going to be this man hater or vice versa, woman hater, if you hear all their problems. It just isn't good. That's a big rule right there because people tend to do that. They do. They tend to do that. And you want to keep your conversation fun. And also, here's another one. Don't do all the talking. How do you feel about that?
Okay. That makes sense.
Right. Because the date might be over and then you realize, I don't know anything about that person. So you just got to make sure, because people are afraid of awkward silences. But don't be afraid of them. That's just normal. Let there be a silent moment. Who cares? And then ask questions, and then make sure you're listening too. And that makes your date feel like you're interested in them, which is important, right? So that's another one that I've heard about because, nobody likes somebody who just talks about themselves the whole time. I mean, who would like that, right? Okay, another one. Be confident. It's attractive.
That's true.
In fact, most women, when they list what they like about a man, one of the top things they always say is confidence. But they also like a sense of humor. But they love a confident man because they feel safe, right?
Well, also,
a confident woman.
That sense of humor, it makes you feel like you're on a date and not sitting at the office.
Right. Yeah, because even if you're a little shy, you can just practice beforehand, talking to your friends, getting like your nerves out before the big date. That's so important because women want to feel safe. And if you're confident, that's a feeling of like they're secure with you. So that's good. But first you got to get the date and then do all these things. So when you have a date, we're going to go over all of this. And that'd be so fun if you had a date. We go over this first, you have a date, and then you come on the show. You don't have to say names, but then you talk about the date, and we'll go over, did you do this, that, and the other? And you could do it to me, too, if I ever have one. I did have a date this week, but they canceled it, and I even got my hair done.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you had to
like,
what kind of
who
guys
would do that
do
to
you
you,
like,
Barbara?
Though,
What?
What kind of guys do you like, though? What's your type?
My type are, I like guys who love sports because, I love football. So although I've been with people who didn't even watch football, it's so much more fun when I'm with an athletic guy. I like a guy that I can work out with and who's active like that, who likes to do things like snow ski or go jet skiing or somebody like that. Being with like a workaholic isn't so fun because I like to have fun. I like them to have some time where we can travel and we can have fun. Okay, I used to really like this sexy businessman in the suit, but I've gotten away from that. That's so funny. I used to like that 25 years ago because I wrote that in my Playboy data sheet. But I like a casual guy. I do like more of the clean cut look with the shorter hair. I'm not a long-haired type. I do like tall. I think because all the men in my family were tall, I just look up to that. So I've always liked that. And I like the dark hair with the blue eyes. I've always liked that a lot, except for if he's Brad Pitt. Now, that's my exception. But I like funny. Funny is so important. I really like somebody who has a good sense of humor. And I always think if somebody has a good sense of humor, then they're smart. Because usually people who are not so smart, don't get anything. And I'm always laughing, I like to be funny. And so somebody who lets me be me. But, the type of guy, if I don't know him, that's my type. The way they look, an athletic type, that type, okay? And once I get to know them, how they treat me, I like them to love me even without makeup or not all dressed up. I like it when they think I'm beautiful that way, too, where I can just be myself. It's so important to be able to be yourself, isn't it?
That makes sense.
Yeah, just think, at our age, we're looking for somebody who we're probably going to be with, hopefully, for the rest of our life. And if you can't be yourself around that person, that's going to be a long rest of your life.
Do you feel like that you're going to eventually fall in love?
Yes. Can you believe this one person that I was engaged to even? I was engaged to this person, and I found out later that they were uncomfortable with my Instagram, okay? And wanted me to not do it, wanted me to take it down. Okay, I'm a model, and I love modeling so much. I love creating images. This is the one thing in my life that I just never have gotten sick of doing. I love it. It's hard to explain, but I just do. And to post something every day that's interesting and a beautiful, different kind of image, I can't just wipe that away for somebody because they're insecure. That's a big one. A man that is secure. If something goes wrong, let's address it there, but don't go through life worrying that something's going to go wrong, worrying that you're going to leave them, worrying that you're going to cheat on them, worrying that you're looking at somebody else. That's just going to ruin everything. Jealousy always ruins everything, in every situation, too, but especially in a relationship, because then you go out with them and you're afraid to even look around because they're going to think you're looking at somebody. That's no way to live.
Yes, that's true.
And what other problems have you had with dating? And have you had a first date where the girl just does talk all about herself and doesn't ask you any questions. Have you had
about the worst
a situation?
Tell you about the worst date that I had. I
Okay.
went on a date with a woman, and you know, she smoked the entire date. You know, during dinner,
the one thing I said not
after
to
dinner,
do.
before dinner. I was leaning my head back like I was on a roller coaster. I asked her what she did for a living. She said she was a karaoke singer.
Oh, no way.
That was her job.
Oh, yeah, they do have that. There is that, where somebody runs the machine and is a good singer. So, wait, you said she talked the whole time?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like but the reason I had a problem with it was that on her dating profile, she listed herself as religious, not spiritual. And then I talked to her, I found out she was an atheist, which really is kind of contradiction in terms, you know.
Yeah, that's odd.
And, I mean, because I have another friend of mine who is Mormon, and she listed her profile as religious and spiritual. Mormon and atheism are not the same thing.
No.
You know?
Okay, so that's important to you, their belief. Very important to you,
well,
isn't it?
I think that, put it this way, if I had a dating site, okay, and I was to start one, I actually thought about starting one time, I believe that religion should be multiple choice. Not multiple choice, essay. I think that that people should fill out the religion question with essay, but not multiple choice. Because here's the thing. Things are complicated. Like, I know you consider yourself a Christian, but we've had psychics on the show, and we've had Playboy Playmates on the show. There are Christians who wouldn't want to do with any of those things. So, you know, who consider themselves
there's
Christians.
different levels.
Well, yeah, it's
different levels.
What you consider yourself are. I mean, you need to remember that's a big spectrum. That word doesn't really, it means a lot of different things. It's such a big word.
It really does.
And so
yeah, some Christians don't like anything worldly at all. And I would say that Playboy is worldly.
And so it's very hard in my opinion.
Some don't listen to rock music.
This is how extreme people can get. I read this in Ripley's Believe It or Not. There was a library, an old library, and they said that they would only put books next to each other when the authors of those books were married to each other.
Oh.
In other words,
wow.
You have two books on a shelf, okay? And they the book on the right has to have an author that's married to the book on the left. I mean, why don't you do a human centipede and just surgically attach the two people? Just do that.
Right.
I mean, you might as well, make them Siamese twins, do it in a way that they're not hurting each other or anything, but you might as well. You're married,
That's a very good point, though, Johnnie. That's a good point, that it's important for the spouse to still let the other have their own life, and because they can whittle on the vine if they can't be themselves and be creative. I heard that even when you're married, you're supposed to have a private email account, and you're never supposed to look in it. Not that somebody's doing something wrong, but they don't want to feel like they're always monitored and watched like they're a child. These are adults, and so what do you think about that if you're married, that you have your own email account that they don't look at?
I don't have a problem with the old email account. I do think that, like my parents, they each have their own email account, but they talk about what happens. Like, for instance, like I'll send an email to Dad, and then I'll hear about it from Mom, or,
right.
It happens. It's not
it happens.
It's not like they're
well, it's fine, but it's not like you're checking. It's not like they're checking up on each other, right? It's just
yeah.
that they're.
I mean, they're like
just there.
more likely to just they're just more like my parents are more likely to go. This is hilarious, you know. But
right.
I mean, it's like I've emailed my father like funny little things, and you know, I mean, I think that I tell you, my father, my two parents. I mean, my father goes on and on. He goes, my mother is she really is. She is the nicest person you'll ever meet. I mean, she is a saint.
Oh.
She is. Well, you know, my mom is like, it's like, well, yes, well, she is, you know, and I
very sweet.
You met her, right? You met my mom, right?
Yes, on FaceTime. And your dad.
Yeah, and
they're so sweet.
And
plus,
dad.
I saw the YouTube video of when you guys were kids, and she would set you guys up and you'd do skits and stuff. And I thought, what a great mom. She really was.
You know,
I could
it's
feel
funny.
her
It was
wonderful
really
energy.
It was really hard for me to show you that. I haven't really watched that because I have a hard time watching myself when I'm a kid. But Mom was like, "So, my son, if you show that video to a woman, I'm sure that she'll fall right in love with you." And I'm thinking, okay. I mean, okay, all right. Well, I mean, okay. Well, let's test this out. Kid, you know who I had my eye on, right? Barbara?
Yes.
Okay. Can you make sure that person sees the video?
You want me to? Okay. We'll see if your mom's right. Okay.
We'll see if your mom's right.
You might have to send it again. It probably is lost up there in all of the, unless you emailed it, I can search it pretty easily.
I'll send it again. And then, now, we have some minutes left. Did you want to go ahead and do the shout-out?
Okay. So I liked this show. It was really fun, and I hope that we gave somebody some tips out there. And I really look forward to when we have an expert about dating on. That would be really fun. But, you know, it was kind of fun to pick your brain and see what you thought about my thoughts about dating. And did you like it? Did you learn anything, Johnny, at all? You did?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, and so you learned something.
I really did, yes. Okay?
Okay, good.
Well,
everybody,
thank you for coming on,
please,
Barbara.
well, you're welcome, of course. I would always be here for you. I will always be here for you. Okay, so everybody, if you just tuned in late, you can find this on our YouTube channel, this wonderful show about dating by Barbara and Johnnie on our Life, Laughter, Happiness YouTube. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and our Facebook group page, Life, Laughter, Happiness. We would appreciate your feedback, and we love it. I got a couple of new followers on the Life, Laughter, Happiness group page today, so that was fun. So we enjoy connecting with you. Yeah, we really enjoy it. So don't forget to connect with us. We want to hear from you. All right. So thank you so much, Johnnie. This was fun.
Talk to you soon.
Have a great night, everybody.